Well, here we go. This is the Vintage Cube. And I think we're recording. Looks like not a Vintage Cube level pack, though, is it? No, it is not. Kroxa, Nissa, Ponder, Monastery Mentor. None of these things are that exciting, really, but I think Ponder is the best card in this pack in Vintage Cube because it's a blue card. Now, I mean, basically early deck manipulation, 1-mana spells, and the versatility of this card is why I want it here. Like, it can go in combo, control, any deck that plays islands, which is most decks. See if we can make this full screen here. Under full screen. Alright. Cards seem a little weirdly stretched here. Also need to make this full screen, I guess. So, this is an interesting pack. We've got Demonic Tutor, Fast Bond, Time Spiral, Gruul Signet. Time Spiral is tempting. It is tempting. Is it tempting enough to just jam it here? Probably. This card is ridiculously powerful, and it can go in any number of broken decks. It sucks to not start with a Mox and other broken stuff with this, but we can pick that stuff up. And Demonic Tutor is not good in blue-black control. It's like good in the deck that has Time Spiral. So I think I'm just going to take it. Ooh. This is another powerful pack. There's Kolaghan's Command for the Grixis control type deck. There's Lotus Bloom for combo, but it's just okay, I think. It's kind of less predictable and less reliable, that is to say. And Treachery's really good, but creatures are not really the bread and butter of Vintage Cube. I mean, it's not that creatures never play a role, but Treachery is just not reliable in this cube the way it is in the modern Legacy cubes. But Dimir Signet is kind of what I'm looking for here, I think. It's just powerful and in Storm colors. Well, got the LSV. There's some blue cards here, so that's a good sign for the fact that blue is probably open. Duress is really good. In most situations, though, I mean, none of these cards are fantastic in, like, Storm specifically, but that's okay. Storm doesn't have to be open, and we don't have to play Time Spiral, but I do think Riftwind Cloudscape is very, very good. Well, green looks open with a 5th pick, Llanowar Elves. But there's a Vamp as well, and Vamp is really nice with Time Spiral, if we can get that going. Sensei's Divining Top is kind of just meh in general. I mean, it's fine, but this card has real potential and might mean I was wrong about Storm being not open. Ooh. Cataxian Probe and Trinket Mage, and I guess it's really just the Cataxian Probe I'm excited about for a Storm type build. There's also some good black control cards. I mean, Recurring Nightmare's good in certain kinds of decks, but let's probe it up. Well, I guess the only card I would actually play in terms of the pathway, maybe Reanimator is actually the way to go again with this. Well, you didn't see it, but I drafted Reanimator recently. People don't seem to like that deck very much, and so it's pretty underrated. As far as like when it's open, it's good. And Necromancy is a very good card. It also has some combo potential because it's one of the reanimation spells that can reanimate at instant speed. Krark the Thumbless. kind of want to try this card at some point, but for us, I mean, bargain can sometimes get there. Do we want to take Kark the freaking Thumbless? I mean, it's cool to copy certain things, but I don't know. Take the bargain. Ooh. Alright, well, having both Imperial Seal and Cabal Ritual Wheel is a really good sign that Storm is actually open. So let's take this ritual and see if we can go that route. And there's this pack. I guess I'll take a random Tanglewire. Ooh. I mean, don't want to play against Spirit of the Labyrinth in general, but Lotus Bloom is a fine card for some of this nonsense. Guess I'll take Luminous Prowler in case we have, like, some kind of reanimator thing going on. Well, we don't have any other really busted stuff. I feel like cards that this deck needs include lots of Moxes, Black Lotus, ways to, and then of course like a kill condition. We don't have either, but we do have like a couple of the big enablers and a ritual and a tutor. Like this is and some cheap ass stuff. So I'm not like hating where this is going. These are the kind of decks that get a lot better with some power. And we actually do like want Time Spiral. I mean, excuse me, Time Twister with some of these cards. Because right now I don't really think I'm interested in Luminous Prowler or Necromancy. But Necromancy can do some funny stuff with cards like Palancron. No power again. This is a very low power pack for Vintage Cube. I mean, there are some 4 and 5 mana cards that are playable, but they're very low picks in this cube, and I would really not even consider taking them first. I'm not sure what I would take if this Polluted Delta wasn't here. Polluted Delta obviously looking pretty good with all these blue and black cards, but I guess Factor Fiction, but yeah, I don't expect that to wheel. This is just not really a very powerful pack. And I'm glad we got the Delta. Well, there's the Tendrils, and we probably are taking it because this pack is also not very good aside from the Tendrils. Like, Torrential Gear Hulk rarely makes this kind of deck, and the rest of these cards are just like green, mid-range, ramp, control, like nothing that goes with what we're doing here. But Tendrils is like the thing, so let's see if we can get it going. Cut these creature cards for now. I guess what we're really missing now is the fast mana. Definitely taking Dark Ritual very highly in Moxen. Lotus would be the best card to open. In pack 3, of course. What do we want here? Not loving not only the choices, but also what this indicates about what other players at the table are taking. But of these choices, I suppose Toxic Deluge is the best like reset button. Sometimes you just have to survive a few turns before you can try and get something going, and this is a way to do that. Ay, ay, ay. The disappointment continues. None of these cards are good in Storm. Mesmeric Fiend is the best choice for like early interaction, but it's not very good in general. I guess I'll just take it though. Exhume is quite unpredictable, and we don't really have a lot going on for Reanimator, but we may have to get that back on the table if things continue in this vein. I guess I felt like wheeling Gitaxian Probe. Oh, well, there's a Dark Petition, and there's also a Baral Chief of Compliance. So those are at least cards that we want for this deck. Time Spiraling turn early is quite good, but I think I want the Dark Petition a little bit more. Tutors are important. Another reset button in Damnation. Corpse Dance also can do something if we get Gristlebrand specifically in pack 3. And I suppose I like that more, because we already have a Wrath, and that's just not how we're gonna get the job done. Corpse Dance also indicates that reanimation type stuff is probably still open, but I'm not sure if we even want to be doing that. There's a Mystical Tutor, that's good. One of the tools for Reanimator still appear to be here. Draw, discard, etc. But I think Mystical Tutor is what we want. Yawgmoth's Will is a very high pick. And I just feel like, yeah, getting some of these cards as late as we did. Wheeling Cabal Ritual, late Vamp Tutor, a bunch of stuff like that. Ooh, Thassa's Oracle and Memory Jar now. Both interesting. We have 2 draw 7s already, so we don't necessarily... Memory Jar is pretty expensive. Thassa's Oracle is a win condition if we can basically get Bargain into play and draw our whole deck. Or get Brain Freeze. They're good together, too. I guess I'll take the Oracle. That's tough. That was a tough pick. Gilded Lotus. Crucible of Worlds is good with fetch lands, which we have one of, but it doesn't look that interesting in general. I don't know if we want Gilded Lotus either. Tough. I guess I'll take it for now. Don't want to play against Vryn Wingmare. I guess I'll take that one, and Thalia as well. All the anti-storm cards. Wear and Tear. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. I guess we could Tinker for that. If we get Tinker. I don't see Exhume really doing much. Alright. Black Lotus, one time. Bazaar of Baghdad, last pick. Well, this is what happens with Storm a lot of the time. Like we've got the win condition, we've got draw 7s, we've got a bunch of the cheap spells you're supposed to have, and even a little bit of artifact mana, but I just don't think that it's, well, that is going to help. Mox is very, very good, and these kinds of decks really need them. So, not really considering anything else. Like, Bribery's awesome, so mixing it is good, but on-color Mox is, I guess, chef's kiss, Italian chef kiss, or something. I don't know about this Gilded Lotus either. It's not really a Gilded Lotus type of deck. I guess another option here is if we get brain freeze in addition to this tendrils is to like just mill ourselves and win with Thassa's Oracle. What do we got here? Marsh Flats, not really looking good. There's a Past in Flames, but we can't really cast that. And Stuff and Things, but I think we just want this card draw. We don't really have that much card draw. Now that I look at it, we've got tutors, but we don't have like raw card advantage. So we kind of need more of that, I expect. Also, cheap spells are what you want. Plus, spells in general to enable Dark Petition and get cards in the graveyard to make Cabal Ritual do its threshold thing. Watery Grave, Entomb, Ulamog, Ancestral Vision, Kiki Jiki. Cool cards in this pack. And then guess I'm just taking this Water Grave though, because it's pretty important, and we have a fetch, but we don't even have a duel. So now we have both. I'm still hoping to hit Yawgmoth's Will too, if we can get lucky enough to do that. This deck might need it. And by might, I mean probably does. Ooh. There are some cards in this pack. I guess this is where all the cards were being kept, because there's a lot of them. Man. Upheaval is a hell of a Magic card. Like, I would even consider it above. Like, there's Grim Monolith and Brain Freeze, but I'm nevertheless thinking about Upheaval. What do we want here? Man, if we already had Yawgmoth's Will, the Brain Freeze would be far and away the best pick, but I'm not even sure if Grim Monolith is what we really are looking for. I'm gonna take the Brain Freeze, but I'm like super unsure about it. Well, Thoughtseize is good, real good. So is Cryptic Command. Thoughtseize looking a lot easier to cast and a lot cheaper. So I think that's gotta be it. Ooh, Frantic Search and High Tide and a Signet 1000-Year Storm. It's the pack's broken kind of a disappointing way in a certain sense, although I'm not disappointed by the way these last few picks have gone. It's gotta be Frantic Search, but there's High Tide in the same pack. Maybe we need the High Tide, actually. I think it's gotta be Frantic Search. That's really tough. Yeah, I'm really not sure, but both are excellent. Wow. LED Griselbrand. This is the last This is the last pack with new cards in it. So, like, we do have Necromancy and Corpse Dance, which is still in the deck. Wow. Am I supposed to take? I think we just have to take the LED anyway, right? It's like Black Lotus when we have a time spiral, and it's just a way to get the broken mana stuff going. But that's tough. Griselbrand might be the pick there. I have no idea. Okay, no, this is the last pack of new cards, and there's still some really insane ones. Like, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to take Gush or Coalition Relic here. I feel like the free spell has to be the thing, as insane as it sounds. Because Time Spiral just not untapping Coalition relics make the artifact mana a little bit weaker. And I think when you're going off, this is probably better. Well, Metalworker is not what we're looking for. And so Repeal being a spell that can basically like returning your Mox for 1 mana and replaying it really could be a winning line here. Same with the LED. Doesn't work with Lotus Bloom, but pretty good. Pretty good in general. Double off Color Signet versus Sower versus nothing really. I mean, I guess we can't really splash. We do have a Wandering Fumarole, but nothing else. Man, it's not possible. Bristlebrain could be the last pick, I suppose. And we're not playing a Thought Adele, I don't think, so. Man, Yawgmoth's Will would have been so good in this deck. Ooh. So is this. I kind of didn't think that one was going to wheel either, but here we are. Wow, we could splash a 1,000-Year Storm now, too. No last pick Gristlebrand. So I think that the third pack went as well as I could have reasonably hoped for. We got a Mox, what else in this pack? Thoughtseize, Brain Freeze, Frantic Search, which is a really, I kind of didn't make a big enough deal about how sort of important this card is to decks like this one. Although it's way better with the mana doubling cards, so that's why choosing between that and High Tide was so difficult. I don't think we want all 3 of these 6 drops, do we? Maybe this is the deck, actually, because Mox Jet is like a land. And so, yeah. I'm glad we had enough cards, but I kind of forgot to take that Corpse Dance that wasn't doing anything out of the deck until way later. Like, I'm not even sure if... Riftwing is pretty good still, because just having something happen for free can be so powerful. Plus, it's a disruptive element, but it is kind of an odd illusion out in this particular build. I'm really into the art on this card too. It's just pretty sweet. So yeah, I guess another question is if we want Gilded Lotus for some reason or something like that, but it doesn't sound very good. Get to play Polluted Delta plus Watery Grave. There was probably a pivot point where I was supposed to set this deck up to take that Griselbrand, but there was also an LED in that pack. Anyway, this does look kind of sweet. It's got a little bit of what you need, and not too many cards that are just clunkers. Like Mezfiend can help disrupt, even if you have to take an extra turn off to mess with what they're doing, clear a path. But and it has a ton of super cheap things, but 3 6s might be too many. Also, like, Dark Petition is kind of like you really can't cast this until you have the Smell Mastery. So some of these things you have to finesse a little bit, I suppose, to be good. There's no way we want Entomb, because Entomb does say, search for a card, put it in the graveyard. But that doesn't really work with this deck, does it? Not really. Yeah, Yawgmoth's Will was what we were needing, but I will add some basic lands. 7/7. You have a Dimir Signet too. The mana is quite good, obviously. As this is an important thing in Z Vintage Cube. And I guess we're just running this. This is like a cheap thing. This is free. This is a 2-drop. This is kind of free-ish, you know. So, and then I think it's added a new dimension to be able to like ramp out a Bolas's Citadel and just kind of play a ton of things off the top of your deck until you overwhelm the opponent. And win with, like, you know, play a bunch of spells, cast Brain Freeze on myself, put Thassa's Oracle into play, whatever it is. And then Tendrils can just be around to just buy time, you know. Make us not lose to damage while we're raking up the storm count. Okay. I will cut it here. That's the news, and I am out of here.